Ben Shabibo, he knows he can't, but he did it anyway.
Let's get to the constitutionality of this thing, because the constitutionality of this thing is completely specious.
Ooh, let's talk about the Constitution. Shut the fuck up, Ben. People are getting 10 grand back. Fuck the Constitution. Good luck selling that to the American people, dude. Get the fuck out of here. What about the constitutionality? Shut up, nerd. Shut the fuck up, you little nerd bitch. Let's get to the constitutionality of the argument. Shut up. Fuck the Constitution. Motherfuck the Constitution. The Constitution can suck me from the back. And the framers, too. I'll go piss on their fucking graves, motherfucker. Shut up!
I know that we now think that the president basically has the powers to declare anything. And during COVID, it got even worse. During COVID, it was like, hey, some old people are going to die of a disease. This means you don't have to pay your rent. You're a 20-year-old who's working a gaming job. You don't have to pay your rent anymore for like 2 years because the CDC says so. I understand that we all went nuts in 2020, 2021. But even Nancy Pelosi last year was saying Joe Biden did not have the singular power to cancel student debt. This is last year.
This is ridiculous. I mean, he has every power to do this. The Department of Education can do this and did it. Shut the fuck up. Oh, Ben Shapiro agreeing with Nancy Pelosi on this? Because we watched the clip yesterday. It's the old clip, right?
But he does not have that power. That has to be an act of Congress.
Yeah, there you go. Doesn't matter, dude. Hey, Ben, you and Nancy can take the L's together, okay?
Everybody realizes that, but the president can only postpone, delay, but not forgive.
Okay, but Joe Biden just did that, right? He said he's going to forgive. So what is the legal basis for this? This is totally crazy.
Yeah, he didn't even do it by executive order. He did it through a law passed by Congress that gives the Department of Education the power to do this.
This is probably not going to fall under the political question doctrine. Probably this is going to fall under the delegated powers, right? Whether Joe Biden actually has the inherent powers to do this. And if it gets struck down by the Supreme Court, then Joe Biden will then campaign against the Supreme Court.
I did my best, guys. I tried to relieve the student Lamanu, and the Supreme Campuchies said that I wasn't a match valve.
Yeah, that may be what he's doing here, legally speaking. What gives Joe Biden the power to simply say that you, a person who took out a student loan, now no longer have to pay that student loan? What gives him the power to do that? Get ready for this. It is the HEROES Act of 2003. Now you're thinking to yourself, what is the HEROES Act of 2003? I don't even remember that. That's 20 years ago, man. What are we talking about?
Get fucked. Bitch, you can't talk about the Constitution on the one hand and then be like, oh, this other act was from 2003. That's 20 years ago. Okay, what about the Constitution, jackass? These people will find like an insane law from like 1843 to be like, well, this is the reason why every Democrat is actually not allowed to vote legally. You know what I mean? In order to find any fucking like judicial reasoning for their psychotic reactionary worldview, they will be like, well, technically, in 1843, a horse would have to kick every Democrat before they were able to vote. Which is why, technically, right now, hypothetically speaking, every Democrat is illegally voting. You know what I mean? They use whatever they can. But the moment that someone is like, oh, well, a 20-year-old law was used here that gives the executive authority over to the president to absolve a student loan debt that's held by the Department of Education regardless, well, then, no, you can't do that. It's unacceptable. It's not allowed.
The HEROES Act of 2003, which was passed in the aftermath of 9/11. Right? What was that designed to do? It was designed to allow the Secretary of Education to waive or modify loans because of a national emergency. Like, say, for example, there was a massive terror attack in the United States, a nuclear attack in the United States. Do you still have to pay off your loan this week? The idea was the Secretary of Education could cancel loans if they had to. Joe Biden is now declaring that because of COVID, he can just cancel the student loans. According to the Office of Legal Counsel, quote, we conclude the act grants that authority. We conclude that targeting relief toward those individuals who suffered financial hardship because of COVID-19 and who otherwise satisfied the requirements of the act accords with the act's requirement that the waiver or modification be necessary to ensure that student loan recipients affected by a national emergency are not placed in a worse financial position with respect to their loans as a result. Are you kidding me? We have an unemployment rate in this country of less than 4%. College grads have the lowest unemployment rate of any educational subsection of the American population.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of a problem, you fucking bozo. That's literally, look at how mad he is. He's like, get these fucking people to start working at gunpoint. Get them to start working at gunpoint. Not everyone can have a fucking shit-ass podcast like you dickhead. Shut the fuck up. He's so mad. Dude, I swear to God, these people would literally advocate for the National Guard to take up arms and like force people to go serve them fucking coffee at Starbucks. If there was a Chamber of Commerce back bill that said like the National Guard is going to use guns to force every unemployed person to like work at the Shake Shack, you know what I mean? They would literally be like, this is a great bill. Why aren't they working?
College grads have the lowest unemployment rate of any educational subsection of the American population. And your declaration is that they have a national emergency based on COVID to relieve their student loans?
Yeah, I mean, you admitted it. You know what I mean? College graduates are not employed. They can't find meaningful jobs, meaningful wages. Seems like that's a crisis. Maybe it should be solved some way, somehow. I don't know. I'm just saying. Perhaps debt relief could be an adequate way to free up some of the burden. I'm just saying. It seems like a good idea, which it is a good idea. It's a good idea, by the way.
That is the case that you are making legally speaking. It is obviously stupid. And everyone obviously knows that. But Joe Biden's going to do it anyway, because again, it doesn't matter how you do it, gang. It just matters that you do it. It's all about the power. This is why when you hear Democrats talking about how they're defenders of democracy, explain. Seriously, explain.
Why is he so mad about this? It doesn't affect him. Oh, he's mad because Democrats are actually doing something for once. And Republicans have to be mad about anything that the Democrats do. That's the point. It's the song and dance that they play. And he's probably doubly mad because the Democrats actually did something really good that is popular, that will genuinely impact 45 million people's lives in a positive way. And that probably doubly frustrates him. He's mad because he's reactionary, and Republicans have to react to good Democratic policy, good or bad.
To have a regulatory authority under the President of the United States simply unilaterally declare that he can relieve debt. And by relieving debt, by the way, it doesn't mean debt disappears. It means you pay it. I pay it.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Just like the PPP loans. Shut the fuck up. Just like the PPP loans. $1 trillion in PPP loans were relieved. That's not true.
How is it fair for people who paid off their student debt to subsidize people who did not pay off their student debt? How is that fair?
That's not how this works.
I mean, by the way,
that's not how this works. That's not how this works. That's not how this works. But that is how it should work. Taxes should pay for state education. It does to a certain degree, as a matter of fact. You could make this argument against state schools getting fucking taxes. You could make this argument against hospitals taking advantage of budget allocations specifically designed for hospitals. I never used a hospital. Why am I, a person who never uses the hospital because I'm never sick, paying for some taxes that end up going to the hospital? Why am I, a person whose house has never caught on fire because I'm very responsible, paying for a fire department? This is a fundamentally anti-tax libertarian position. He is not a libertarian, by the way. He loves the military. He loves giving $38 billion to Israel. So you know that. Taxes already pay for a certain part of the cost of education, both regardless of whether or not you're fucking homeschooling your children or not, regardless of whether you're fucking homesteading or not. Taxes pay for education. It subsidizes education, even if you're using it or even if you're not using it. That's number one. Number two, they should already pay and do pay to a certain degree, or at least subsidize to a certain degree, the cost of state schools. Not enough, because state school costs are incredibly fucking high in America, hyper-capitalist dystopia. And lastly, the subsidization, rather the debt, the student loan debt relief, is not being subsidized by people who didn't go to college. That's bullshit. He's making it up. It's debt that the government already had, and it's debt that the government has every right and responsibility to fucking relieve if they want to.
Why doesn't he just cancel all credit card debt? After all, we have trillions of dollars in outstanding credit card debt in the United States. Why not just do that? After all, money magically grows on trees. And as we know, the fairest thing is for you to take out irresponsible debt and then for your neighbor to pay it. The fairest thing is for predatory lenders to prey on people to go to the local hairdressing salon for a quote-unquote university course, and then for you to bail them out. That's the fairest thing, probably. Here's Joe Biden trying to answer why any of this is fair when it obviously is not.
Mr. President, is this unfair to people who paid their student loans or chose not to take out loans?
Is it fair to people who, in fact, do not own multi-billion-dollar businesses that see why these guys get them all at tax breaks? Is that fair?
Is it fair that some ostriches can't fly?
That's not what he said. He actually provided a pretty adequate retort. Yes, he's old. That part is true. Yes, his brain is broken. But that was a really good fucking counter. Suck me, Ben. The one time that this decrepit, wasting fucking corpse was able to adequately provide a counter with a decent answer, and you're just going, ugh, his voice.
He's asked a very specific question. Why is it fair for people who paid off their loans to now pay everybody else's loans? And his answer is multi-billion-dollar businesses or some such nonsense.
What?
The hell does that have to do?
You heard what he said. He directly said, what about the fucking PPP loans? Suck my cock. He literally directly said, and you heard him say it, and every American heard him say, why are you bent out of shape about people making less than $75,000 a fucking year getting $10K in their student loans relieved when you weren't so bent, when multi-million, billion-dollar corporations got trillions, $1 trillion in fucking loans that the federal government forgave in the form of PPP loans? Shut the fuck up. I say $75K because like 90% of those people that are receiving those loans are in the 75K metric. I don't like the fucking 125K fucking number. That's like literally less than 10%. Shut the fuck up. On the PPP side, that makes sense. There's also a whopping multiple $trillion tax cut that gigantic corporations got as well.
What are you even talking about, dude? It's just nonsensical gobbledygook from a person whose face hole doesn't work right.
This is so funny. Brother, he adequately pointed something out. You just know that it's a good argument and you refuse to address it because it's a good argument. It's just, that's what it is. This is all he has left now. Now when the Democrats are actually doing something and the thing that they're doing is actually good, now he has no fucking counter. So he just goes, it's gobbledygook. His face hole doesn't work. He's too stupid. Yeah, that's what happens. I thought facts, not feelings, right? I thought facts don't care about your feelings, Ben. It seems like your fucking feelings are hurt though. Real fucking weird. Of course, this is the same Ben Shapiro who I ratioed yesterday, thanks to you guys, who said, so it's now the White House's position that if the government forces you to shut down your business and provides you with compensation just to keep people employed, that's the same thing as you failing to pay for college loans you voluntarily undertook. Geniuses. I said, I don't know if you know this, but those were also loans that were forgiven. That's Ben's perspective on it. But he knows that's a bad perspective. He knows that he would get fucking owned if he brought that up. So he has to go, oh, I don't understand what Biden is saying. It's gobbledygook.
There has never been an executive action this costly in the history of the United States, what Joe Biden is doing right now. Understand the magnitude of this. You're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars poured in on the basis of Joe Biden's perception of fairness.
I don't know, man. War is pretty bad. Devoid of congressional approval, too. An argument I'm sure Ben Shapiro is in favor of, too.
By the way, this is the kind of garbage that you get from Bernie Sanders, right? You got to love the non sequiturs. And no matter what the question is, Bernie says, is it truly fair that there are some rich people in this country? Is that a fair thing? What? You're paying the rich people. That's what this program does. It gives money to people who have a combined couple income of $250,000. Are those the poorest among us? So Bernie Sanders tweeted out, the average amount of debt forgiveness to businesses receiving PPP.
I think you should stick to being the annoying weasel and leave the bad accents to me, Ben. I'm just saying. Especially when you're angrily trying to do an impersonation, it's just so bad.
Loans is $95,700. If we could afford to cancel hundreds of billions in PPP loans to business owners in their time of need, please do not tell me we can't afford to cancel all student debt for 45 million Americans. So Bernie Sanders tweets that, and then he tweets a little bit more. And so Bernie Sanders' second tweet here, if SoFi, a student loan refinancing company, could give its CEO a 92% raise last year, paying him a grand total of $103 million in compensation, and spend $625 million to put his name on the LA Rams football stadium, do you know what President Biden can do? Cancel.
Yeah. Oh, God, this is so bad. I know you've never worked a day in your life, Bernie Sanders. I know you've only worked off of the government dime and stole from others, but in the real world, CEOs deserve that kind of pay. The rich deserve to get richer.
If a private company can do X, the government can do Y, is not an argument. That is a complete non sequitur. If Jeff Bezos can buy himself a private jet, Joe Biden can ride a nuclear weapon to Mars. What are you talking about? We have a bunch of geriatric dotards running the country who can't even string together basic AB logic. It's insane. This guy is an ideological leader of the Democratic Party.
I wish. What Bernie Sanders is doing here is not, here's the AB logic, you fucking idiot. What he's saying is student loan refinancing is an insanely profitable business. So profitable that the fucking CEO can get a 92% raise. And one individual, which would amount to one individual receiving $103 million in compensation. So profitable that they can purchase the LA Rams football stadium for $625 million. That's the Bernie Sanders take here. That it is like a profoundly profitable thing that people have very successful businesses launched off of our inadequate structure, our inadequate systems that saddle working class individuals with an endless amount of fucking debt simply for becoming more productive members of the American workforce. That's the fucking argument. Ben, you're not that stupid. There's no fucking way he's that stupid. I mean, I think he is very stupid, but he's just like purposely being like, he's maliciously weaponizing stupidity. Not his stupidity, but the stupidity of his fucking audience. Bernie's not making a logical argument here. That's not the argument.
Why cannot Joe Biden simply relieve all credit card debt and fart rainbows? Clearly, he has the constitutional... If you, at your local...
Oh my God, he's getting like increasingly more anti-Semitic, by the way. What the fuck? His Bernie's like Fiddler on the Roof, you know what I mean? His Bernie Sanders is like Steven Crowder doing a black guy voice, you know what I mean? Like when Steven Crowder tries to do an Obama voice and it's literally just Chris Tucker, or when he tries to do a Morgan Freeman and it's just Chris Tucker again, Like anytime Steven Crowder tries to literally imitate a black person, he only knows like the Chris Tucker voice.
It's also why I love black people, because they're just straightforward. Like, bitch took a shit. Yeah. Just me.
On my side, you see that dimple?
I'm talking a memory foam.
Yeah.
I can't shout that out. Tide stick that shit.
For Ben Shapiro, his Bernie Sanders is like slowly turning into Fiddler on the Roof. No, he's not doing a racist Chinese accent, dude. He's doing Japanese Bernie Sanders, famous Nick Mullen character. I'm telling you, he's doing like a Fiddler on the Roof type thing. It is coming across like he's doing like a Mandarin, but he's trying to do like Yiddish.
Charge you slightly more for a gallon of milk thanks to inflation.
But it is turning into Mandarin. This is so funny. Oh my God, yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it because I don't have my Asian audience. My percentage is really, really low. Okay. So I'm not trying to fuck that up right now. Culturally insensitive Chinese accents. Oh, is this the Steven Crowder photo? Oh, worse. Except his are good. Nick Mullen literally falls in the category. I don't know who that guy is, to be fair. I don't know. What is he, a podcast guest or the host or something? I think he's a producer or something. Oh, he produces the Adam Friedland show? Okay, anyway, well, I don't know anything about Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins. I don't know. I don't know anything about that guy, but I'll just say this. If I knew what his accents sounded like, and if they were good, at least, hypothetically speaking, if his accents were good, technically it would fall in line with the not racist because it's good, the part.